Would I be the a-hole if I don't allow children at my wedding, but do allow pets?
Hey, you. Welcome back. My name's Jack, the snack that smiles back. You must be here to find out who the a-holes are today. Well, I'll provide the stories, you provide everything else, and let's get started.
I'm getting married post-pandemic at a friend's place that has a huge backyard. About an acre of open field surrounded by a fence. They have dogs, and the only time one got out was when the gate was left open. I love dogs, but I'm not fond of children. I don't want kids at my wedding, plain and simple. But I thought it could be fun to let my 3 friends with city-dwelling dogs bring them so they can spend the night running around in a big field without a leash to their little heart's content. When I ran this idea by some people, they said it was incredibly rude to let people bring their dogs but exclude the kids. Note, I have no children in my family anymore. My youngest cousins are 18 and 19, and I told them no hard feelings if they don't want to sit at a boring wedding. These would be infants no older than 5 that are my friends' babies that I almost never see, so I don't really feel obligated to invite them. They'll forget it anyway. I'm not including on the invitation, no kids, pets okay, though I would like to, that sounds amazing. I'm telling 3 specific people to bring their pups for some time in the country. So, Reddit, I ask you, would I be an a-hole if I didn't invite kids but invited the dogs? Snap edit to add, we are hiring our friend's dog sitter to work at the wedding, so we don't have to worry about someone leaving the gate open or forgetting to feed them. Second edit, the 3 dogs live in the same city and play together often. They're not strangers to each other. Nata, your wedding, your guests. Totally want to steal your idea for my wedding though. Nata, but you seriously risk having dog misbehavior disrupt your wedding or distract your guests. They'll be elsewhere for the ceremony, and honestly after that, if my guests want to be distracted by them, they are more than welcome. Same risk with young kids at a wedding though. This is exactly what I was thinking. While it is your wedding, in regards to how you can justify why you don't want to have the kids, it doesn't really have a strong point. At least not without you simply saying, it's my wedding, I'll do what I want. Which I agree with, honestly. This wedding is for you. They are guests. They are welcome to come. But the whole ceremony is for you. Celebration of you. It's nice to try and cater to others, but you are not obliged to. I just think you have to put your foot down and come across as rather selfish. Honestly, again, you're allowed to. It's your wedding. If you have a good bond with the people with the kids, maybe offer to pay a bit in the babysitting fees. Regardless, I feel if anything, the dogs are going to make more of a mess around the place than the kids. I mean, who's going to clean up the poop? Nata, fur babies are not the same as human babies. Also, OP, so you don't sound like an alien when forming your friends with kids, no one invites kids under 5 to a wedding for the kids' sake. Sometimes they're invited because it can be easier on the parents to bring them, or because the couple wants them to participate in the celebration, or maybe just for the cute photos of the bride dancing with the baby. Your choice, of course. I just don't see a need to follow it up with, because they won't remember it anyway. I'm not seeing any conflicting opinions. Seems everyone's in mutual agreement about this, so let's just move on. This story by it's literally the title. Am I the a-hole for disapproving of my daughter dating a much younger man? My daughter Rebecca is 22. She graduated with an accounting degree last year and already works for a big firm. We're very proud of her. At the start of the year, Rebecca met this guy at a party. Let's call him Harry. He's 17 and does construction work, which pays him pretty well for his age. They started chatting and went on a few dates, and then when the lockdown happened, she was texting and FaceTiming him every day, and now things have started opening up and he's taken her out all the time. What a gentleman. Before anyone asks, yes, this age gap is legal where we are, so that isn't a problem. However, that doesn't stop me being uncomfortable as her mother. They're at completely different life stages. She's already starting a professional career, while this guy is barely out of school. Older girl/younger boy relationships tend not to work out from what I've seen. They went out shopping yesterday and he got her some shoes she wanted, and she was going on about what a lovely guy he was and how well he treats her, etc. I feel like this is just puppy love from his side. He's infatuated with her and will grow out of it quickly, and that will hurt both of them. His parents invited her for dinner with them last night. She got all dressed up and looked beautiful, but I gave her the warning to be careful and warned her that things won't be smooth sailing with this age gap. She got offended at this and told me to stop trying to ruin it. I told her that this relationship will not end well and that the sooner she realizes this, the better. We argued about it and she ended up leaving in tears. She texted me later saying she decided to sleep at his place. She came home in the morning but didn't talk to me at all. I know she was hurt by what I said, but frankly, she's still just a kid, and I don't want her to get her heart broken. Sometimes you need to make them face the realities of these situations rather than letting them delude themselves. I don't think what I said was wrong. Alright, then why are you here? You pointing out that you feel that she's just a kid really says quite a bit as to where you're coming from in this situation. She's not a kid. She's an adult now. And sure, you've probably come across plenty of people in relationships where the younger guy wasn't the best option, but you're also incorrectly assuming that every relationship has the exact same structure. How do you not know this kid's extremely mature for his age? Honestly, I think it's great he's actually dating someone who's mature. At least even if the relationship ends, they'll both have matured in a very healthy way. Of course, that would more so benefit him more than her, as she is pretty much already an adult. I think you need to let her go. If this does end up falling apart, well, so what? Most relationships do. You're, once again, incorrectly assuming that every relationship needs to achieve marriage at some point. Sometimes, relationships are meant to only be temporary. It's through our experience with those people that we evolve better as human beings. It might not feel like the relationship has ended for the betterment of them both, but over time, they'll understand that. I've personally been through that myself. An intimate relationship doesn't need to last forever for it to be worthwhile. Well, let's see what the comments say. Is she an adult with a grown-up job who shouldn't be dating a kid? Or is she a kid? Whichever is convenient for your argument. I don't love the age gap either, but frankly, it sounds like they're in similar life stages. Both living at home, both starting potentially lucrative careers. Either you're wrong and they're perfect for each other, or you're right and they'll break up. Either way, it's not your job to send your daughter off crying. Yata. Your daughter is old enough to make her own mistakes, and she'll learn from them. I know you're concerned, but you've got to let her live her life. My son moved in with his girl soon after they met, like a week after, and he's 21. And I've just got to let him do his thing. He's an adult. Kind of both. Nata for feeling this way, but Yata for pointing it out. Her heart will almost inevitably be hurt at some stage by one thing or another. You cannot prevent that. She's 22, a grown woman now, albeit a very young one. She will learn, she will grow. If you've done your job right, she will fall and get back up again and carry on older and wiser. No a-holes here. I say this as a parent with kids in their 30s. Let me also add that as long as he treats her well, just hold your tongue. Heartbreak is a part of life, and as much as you would like to protect her from it, you can't. Telling her things like this will only put distance between you and her. Yata, it's good that you want to protect your daughter. It's good that you don't want her to get hurt. Some relationships end due to age gaps, some due to money problems, some due to emotional incompatibilities. So you're right, this relationship probably will end. Most relationships end. Thank you. But your daughter is a 22-year-old adult, so she knows that most relationships end, and she's decided that she still wants to try. You've warned her, now support her decision to try. Heartbreak happens. Most relationships end in a breakup. Can you imagine going through your life without falling in love? Can you imagine what kind of person you'd be? Tom Diaz points out a bit of hypocrisy here, though. Nata, if gender roles were reversed, not only would people on this sub think the relationship was inappropriate, but also that the older person is a creep, pedophile light. I don't think that's the case. You seem like a concerned and loving mother that's being honest with their daughter. Keep on keeping on, and don't take these Yata judgments seriously. This sub is weird, and the judgments given are just as often insane as they are appropriate.
Hello, hi, yes, no, don't worry, you're not tripping out on too much tea. I am a talking teapot. Just wondering if you could like and subscribe this video. Wait, you can't subscribe a video. You get my point. I'm a talking teapot. Am I meant to make sense anyway?
This story by All My Bacon. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife that she's being selfish about intimacy? Backstory. I, 31 male, and my wife, 29 female, have been married for 3 years and have an 18-month-old son. Intimacy took a back seat in our marriage when our son was born. But even after postpartum, months were over. It never really happened more than once per month, even though the boredom of quarantine. Now, My wife has decided that she wants to have another child close to my son's age, and has been initiating intimacy daily. Fantastic. But treats it like a business decision and a chore. Time to have intimacy so I can get pregnant. Less fantastic. Tonight, I told her that I feel like she's only having intimacy with me so often now because there's something she wants out of it. Versus when I try to initiate, she has a headache. Am I the a-hole for wanting her to want to be intimate with me more often than just to get pregnant? Nata, if intimacy has become nothing more than a transaction, something has to give. This isn't healthy for either one of you. Yeah, if either person in a relationship is trading intimacy for any other kind of favors, for example, if you have to lavish your partner with some sort of amazing dinner and basically anything that costs time and money to do, beyond simply the most basic of things that engages emotional connection, then your relationship is no longer healthy and your partner doesn't actually find you attractive. Now, I will say that if you want someone to be attracted to you, make yourself attractive. You can't force someone to be attracted to you after all. Don't care what your partner says, go to the gym, they'll love you for it. But of course that doesn't matter if your partner just doesn't have any physical desire for you. Now again, there's a difference between using intimacy in a form of transaction versus having the love language of receiving gifts, which causes you to have attraction for your partner and therefore reciprocate with what might be them having physical touch as their love language. Reality is not all relationships are like that. Anyway, moving on. No a-holes here. There's nothing wrong with feeling that way. There's also nothing wrong with your wife not feeling that way. Get thee to couples therapy, sir. No, seriously, try a very frank, honest conversation. If that doesn't help, the therapy thing then. Nata, the headache is going to get a lot worse as soon as she is pregnant and continue with 2 kids. Having another kid right now is not a great idea for your relationship if intimacy is important to you long term. The getting pregnant is a temporary fix, but it's not going to last. Seriously? All of this? My intimate life has been through the ringer since having kids. Sometimes it's fine, sometimes it's not. It's honestly been the most challenging aspect of our marriage. And when we're both upset, we communicate poorly, things get worse, and it takes a lot of work to get back on track. The more kids we have, the more challenging it gets. I would seriously recommend getting into some kind of couples counseling to work on dealing with this now, because it might not get better on its own. Failing to address my failing intimate life in my marriage is one of my biggest regrets. If I could have changed anything in my marriage, it would have been putting more effort into a happy, healthy, intimate life after I gave birth to our first child. True, while I do think you are right to want to feel more connected to your partner, also understand it might not necessarily be intentional by her. Maybe, currently, this is the only way she knows how to activate that intimacy for you. Because maybe she's subconsciously afraid of the fact that she's feeling less attracted to you. The vine that is your relationship, all sturdy and strong, is probably starting to wilt away and she's desperately trying some way to keep it together. Couples therapy sounds good. Do it. This story by Apprehensive Trade 24. Am I the a-hole? Did I change the rules for my children to make things unfair? I, 54 female, have 3 children, 28 female, 25 female, and 17 male. Their father and I separated, and have been for about 15 years. However, have managed to have a friendly relationship since our separation. We started setting aside money for the children for college, and that is something we have continued to do after our divorce and managed to save about $30,000 for each child. We realized our middle child didn't want to go to college, but to trade school. We agreed with her that she could use the money set aside for college for trade school and her apprenticeship. When she got married, she could use the rest of the money for that. We also let our other children know that they would have the same opportunity. Our middle daughter got married last year and used a lot of the money for that, and we gave her the rest of what was left to help her and her new husband get started on life. Our oldest asked to speak to us a few weeks ago. She still had a lot of her college fund left since she got a scholarship for academics and for sports. She explained to us that she had no plans to get married, but wanted to buy a house. She asked if she could have the money from the college fund for the down payment with the understanding that if she ever did get married, she would be responsible for it herself. Her father and I agreed. As far as we're concerned, the money is hers, and while it wasn't what we had originally intended, we didn't think it would be a big deal for her to use the money for a house. When our middle daughter found out, she threw a massive fit. She kept saying it wasn't fair for her older sister, to change the rules for how we allow them to use the money. She is saying that we agreed the money left over was for their weddings, and now, after she'd used the money for her wedding, we are changing the rules after the fact. She also said that if our oldest ever gets married, you know you're going to help her. She's Daddy's favorite. She's not. If I'm being honest, that would be our son, since my ex always felt that he got the short end of the stick after we divorced. Her father and I were flabbergasted. I think she's being very unfair. I feel that she is the one who asked to change the agreement in the first place, and we were trying to make her happy by saying she could use the money on trade school and so she could live her life the way she wanted. My ex is now second-guessing the arrangement and wondering if we should tell our oldest daughter no to keep the peace. I think that is a horrible thing to do, especially since we said yes. I asked my brother about it, and he says I'm being an a-hole, because I didn't make it clear to them that the money could be used for anything. And I did this to myself by changing the way the rules worked after the oldest went to college and the middle daughter wanted to get to a trade school. So, did I do this to myself? Am I the a-hole? Nata, explain to the middle child that each child had the same amount. How each child used the money to start their life was their prerogative, and that you, as parents, were open to how each child wanted to start off their life. Trade school, weddings, house down payments, whatever it is, your daughter is being very entitled. Would she have skipped trade school and a wedding to make a house down payment? Probably not, and she got the same amount of money as the child who went to college on scholarships, thereby leaving a bigger nest egg to start off in the world. Nata, your oldest daughter's request makes total sense. It's no different for her to use the money for a house when you gave your middle daughter the money left over from her wedding to get started on life. Nata, your middle daughter is being absolutely ridiculous. For one thing, you gave her the rest of the money in her fund to get started on life after the wedding, so it was pretty obvious that you were flexible with how it would get used. She's just trying to weasel more money out of you. Don't let her. Yeah, I'm kinda confused. What, was she entitled to the rest of the money that the older daughter then used on her house? Doesn't seem that way. I agree in thinking that this is possibly just her being upset that she didn't think of doing this sooner. Hello! That does us for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you're looking at my face right now, that means you liked this video. So all I appreciate is if you would like the video back. Because if you like it, then I'll like you for liking the video, and then I can make more stuff for you to like that you can like, and it'll be just a constant cycle of never-ending pain and suffering. So don't do it alone, suffer with me. I don't know where I was going with that. If you haven't subscribed but you want to see some more content, then please, what are you waiting for? Click that notification bell so you're always updated on the latest content. And hey, why not check out some other videos while you're here? But anyway, that does me for today. Thank you again for watching. You're an amazing person. I love rambling at you, and I look forward to you staring at me beyond the abyss again soon. I can't close well. Don't at me, okay? My name's been Jack. Bye-bye. You're amazing. See ya!